Mr. President.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN.
And let me just say this, I've had quite the day. But as you could see earlier today, this was my last day at CNN. And I did want to jump on Substack Live here for a moment and say, welcome to my new venture. I'm going independent. I'm getting like a 3 out of 10. I got nothing.
Well, Jim, you have the basic, which is you have the right.
That show sounds like using NyQuil to wash down an Ambien, as in there's nothing newsworthy about either of them, and that was when he had the backing of CNN. So now, he's homeless network-wise, but I'm honestly worried he will one day become actually homeless. So before we go back to how it all went down, make sure you like and subscribe for more clips like this. As even back in 2018, Jim had a history of being a laughingstock.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let me
would be
ask,
much
if
better.
I may ask
that's
one other
enough.
question. Mr. President, if I may ask
Peter,
one
go
other
ahead.
question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President,
That's enough.
Ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am.
Excuse me. That's enough.
Mr. President, I had one other
Peter,
question,
let's
if
go.
I may ask, on the Russia investigation. Are you concerned that you may have?
I'm not concerned
indictments-
about anything with
you
the
may have
Russian
indictments coming down?
investigation because it's a hoax.
Are you-
That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
I think that's unfair.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible. And the way you treat other people are horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way. Go ahead. Go ahead, Peter, go ahead.
In Jim's defense, I've traveled with him and watched him. He's a diligent reporter who busts.
Well, I'm not a big fan of yours either, so.
I understand.
Henry McMaster, and as you can hear behind me, Wolf, the crowd is very fired up. We have about a couple thousand people in this room so far. They are letting the press corps here know exactly how they feel about what we're doing here, Wolf.
Hey, is this Jim Acosta?
Yeah.
Wow, fake news, Jim Acosta, everybody.
It's so sad I honestly feel bad for the guy, because it's not like he was lying on behalf of the political establishment to gain some sort of institutional power. No, he was parroting all their talking points as their most loyal, useful idiot, completely destroying his reputation in news media, just to later become a useless idiot and be tossed to the side. Just like a certain lemon that went sour, but we'll go more into that later, as Jim Acosta got shoved off his nice 10 a.m. time slot. And instead of shifting to midnight, he just quit.
It is never a good time to bow down to a tyrant. I've always believed it's the job of the press to hold power to account. I've always tried to do that here at CNN, and I plan on doing all of that in the future.
He then later announced he was going independent, and then put out this nonsense.
Don't give in is the message. And part of that, Norm, I think starts with guys like us. You know, we're going to stand up for the truth. We're going to tell people what the facts are.
So in all fairness, nobody's first solo creative project is that great. Unless you're Justin Timberlake, Ice Cube, or Michael Jackson. Okay, musicians aren't a great analogy, but in news media, nobody's first show is really that well received. Unless you're Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, or Brett Cooper. Okay, maybe Jim Acosta just sucks, and there's no hope for a 50-year-old dude that spent the last couple decades making a career off of deceiving the public in order to advance the agenda of whoever was funding that garbage. Because he goes into the whole, we stand for the truth and the world needs guys like us, as if he's suddenly going to go through some epiphany after going broke, and not try to make a bootleg version of his old show without the institutional backing, having all that access and cash he used to benefit from. As his old salary at CNN was allegedly between $700,000 and $2 million. But then his brand new Substack surprisingly got 123,000 subscribers in a few days. I was initially shocked to see this, as I thought Substack subs were like Patreon subs or YouTube memberships, where your subscribers get billed something like $5 a month, and at 123,000 subscribers, I'm not a math Asian, but that's like a lot of money. very easily more than he was making at CNN, so I was about to congratulate him until I went to his Substack for myself and found there was a free option that gave you access to basically everything. Not to mention, apparently Substack has a huge botting problem that an awful lot of people are reporting. And when you go to his allegedly popular Substack, he had that old man ASMR for sleep he called the news. Then these rambling walls of texts I somehow doubt anybody is reading.
www.creedthoughts.gov.www/creedthoughts.
And if you're on CNN, you're sorta used to being able to spew out whatever nonsense comes across your mind in an attempt to lull your viewers to sleep so they're unable to change the channel. But on the hyper-competitive place that is the internet, full of viral cat videos, hot girls doing TikToks, and direct news feeds from Twitter, if people don't actively seek your off-brand content and get pulled into whatever value you provide, you're doomed to become the next Don Lemon, as he also had a falling out with CNN 4 years ago.
This is the last night that will be CNN Tonight with Don Lemon. So I appreciate all the years of CNN Tonight with Don Lemon, but changes are coming, and I will fill you in.
And although he has an impressive near 1 million followers on TikTok, he still struggles to scrape into the tens of thousands of views. Where hilariously, his most viewed video is because the thumbnail is of Charlie Kirk, and the bulk of his content is street interviews.
It's a horrible situation. I don't want anyone...
Like it's TikTok news. We get our stuff from TikTok. I think ICE is a good method for fear-mongering.
Do you know anything about this deep seek that they just dropped?
No. I'm a loyal fan of ChatGPT.
And that's not me editing out his commentary, or the value Lemon squeezes into these videos with his long history of being on TV. No, he's literally an empty shell of a man, standing on TikTok and doing his best impression of every teenager doing street interviews ever, except nobody is watching. And it's sad to see someone going from $1 million salary, primetime TV, at the very top of his industry, to in just a few years, not just being a TikToker, but a failed TikToker. And the most pathetic part is not even his old coworker Jim Acosta was watching, because if he was, there's no possible way he was quitting his job after seeing Don. But sadly, in this scenario there's really no winners, because back at CNN, they're not doing much better.
And you are blaming Democrats and DEI policies and air traffic control and seemingly the member of the U.S. military who was flying that Black Hawk helicopter. Don't you think you're getting ahead of the investigation right now?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think with the names of the people, you mean the names of the people that are on the plane? You think that's going to make a difference?
Does it comfort their families?
They are a group of people that have lost their lives. If you want a list of the names, we can give you that. We'll be giving that very soon. We're in coordination with American Airlines. We're in coordination very strongly, obviously, with the military. But I think that's not a very smart question. I'm surprised coming from you.
Are you blaming
There's just something about Trump 47. Trump 45 was known for mean tweets and little quips here and there, but Trump 47 is about mass layoffs and reopening Guantanamo Bay, and we're just entering week 2. I wouldn't be surprised by year 2, the press room will have replaced CNN and MSNBC with Sovereign Bra, Alex Jones, and the Philly Fanatic, ironically giving us more trustworthy news sources in DC. As this chart comes to no surprise, as conservatives don't listen to the media, or else they would have voted for Kamala. But they even lost support from the liberals still listening, as just simple stuff like this cover from the New York Magazine, showing the Cruel Kids table, with the article talking about how a room of conservatives is all white people, conveniently using the bold title text and clever cropping to omit anybody black. The legacy media has literally become a parody of themselves, down to the stone-faced confusion when someone calls them a liar and fires them, where I can't for certain discredit Jim Acosta's Substack subscribers, Don Lemon's TikTok followers, or even CNN's YouTube views. But everything about all their view, like, subscriber, and comment ratios makes zero sense. You can't tell me you have 10 million subscribers, 1 million views, and 100 comments. There's a lie somewhere in there, and it's not just in their news. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on how America is finally winning again, hopefully I've earned your subscription, and we can chat again soon.